Hi, this is Bob Samuels, founder of TechConnectr. TechConnectr is a marketplace and campaign management platform of best-of-breed, account-based marketing lead generation solutions. We've partnered with the Serious Decisions Summit to bring you wisdom from leading account-based marketing thought leaders. To that end, I'm happy to introduce you to Erica Short, Marketing Director at Infor. Erica has great hands-on ABM experience at both CA Technologies and at Infor. Erica, it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's beautiful outside. The sun is shining. How about yourself?
I'm doing well too. So you got that little sliver of beautiful weather going on.
Yes, it's short-lived, so we have to take advantage of it while it's here.
Excellent. Well, me too. I'm glad. So thank you for taking the time. So I get to talk with you and I get to speak with you about one of my favorite topics, account-based marketing. So if you can give our audience a little bit of a background about where you've been, what's been your exposure to B2B marketing and ABM in particular.
Yeah, sure. So I have been in B2B field marketing for the last 14, almost 15 years. Started out at Microsoft and then moved to a small partner of Microsoft and actually did a little bit of business development there. And then I went over to CA Technologies, which is now a Broadcom company, where I spent just about almost 8 years there, starting in demand gen, field marketing. And from there, while I was at CA, we started researching and looking into account-based marketing. As everybody knows in the marketing world, it became kind of a buzzword and everybody was talking about it, but not really sure what steps you needed to take to move forward. So I took the lead at CA to what does it mean to CA? How do we go through the next steps? What do we need to do? What does it mean to us? And so started that about 4 years ago at CA, and I'm now with Infor, where they hired me specifically to help roll out their ABM program as well.
Beautiful. That's great. So what have you found, I guess, how similar or different are your target audiences at CA versus Infor, and how does that affect your approach?
Yeah, so a couple things. It's not necessarily, because they're both B2B companies, really their focused target accounts are, those top 100 Fortune companies. And so the target isn't different, but it is how the companies are different a little bit in their internal alignment and how we define account-based marketing at the company. So what I have learned is through my experience learning about account-based marketing, talking to other ABMers, and coming to a new company is ABM cannot be defined for every company in the same definition, in the same approach, in the same strategy due to internal alignment, the way the company is structured, your goals and what you're trying to achieve. Those all can differ from company to company. We may be targeting the same companies, those same target personas, but the way that we go about reaching out to them, the way we go about creating our strategy and program internally to go target them is different. So it is not a one-size-fits-all approach from company to company. You really have to define ABM for your company and how that best fits for the structure that your company has.
That makes sense. And then when you're talking about the internal alignments and so forth, I assume that the main players are sales and marketing and maybe upper management to some extent.
So yes, those are some of the main players. Obviously, is sales and marketing and leadership. And a couple of reasons. When I first started looking and researching account-based marketing at CA, I always had a great relationship with sales. I always We were, communicating. We targeted. We had successful events, successful webcasts, successful programs. But then when we started to implement and strategize around account-based marketing is where marketing then became a strategic partner to sales. And sales stopped looking at marketing as event marketers and program managers, where they were really bringing us to meetings to talk about the account and how to strategize to win that account, what we needed to do. And marketing had a seat at the table, and we provided data and insights, and then made sure that our programs were aligned to what they were putting into their plans, and we actually helped build those plans. So that relationship really became a strategic partnership instead of an afterthought of, hey, marketing, what do you have to support my accounts? And what are you doing, to where we were aligned from the beginning on the account plans and build those out together. We also had to align with not just sales and leadership on our ABM strategy and approach, but we also had to connect with the inside sales team, the BDRs, the customer success team. What we realized when we started to look into this is all the different touch points that our buyers go through in their journey with us. And we wanted to make sure that that journey was customer-centric and it was consistent in the messaging and approach of what we were trying to achieve. So we had to bring in the customer success team, all those different teams that have those touch points with these buyers to make sure that they were enabled on our strategy, on our messaging, so we kept that consistent customer-centric experience for them across their journey.
That makes sense. And I always forget, since it's got that marketing part of the name, account-based marketing, that really one of the applications, or maybe a more important application, is marketing to your current customers and getting them more engaged and getting more upsell and cross-sell and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no,
versus
exactly.
Bringing in new clients.
Exactly. One thing in my experience at both companies has been where we are looking at these very, very big enterprise companies. They already own something of ours, right? We have a huge portfolio. Both companies I've worked for, CA and now Infor, we have a very large portfolio, and they might own something of ours in one department, to where we can take that we want to upsell, cross-sell, and expand in there. And so it's not necessarily always, at least for me in my B2B ABM experience, we haven't taken the approach of net new logos for us. They've always been a customer in some way. We have known them in some way, shape, or form, to where we're trying to expand. We're trying to become their strategic partner as they look to grow and innovate themselves. We want to be that innovation partner with them. And so we want to make sure that we are showing up to what they care about, really looking at it from the customer's view. What are they trying to achieve? What are their objectives of what their goals are, and what are those different departments, so we can really be relevant in our messaging to them. And one thing that we did is we actually took out the word marketing in account-based marketing here at Infor. We did it at CA2. We called it account-based management, because it's not just a marketing effort, it's a full team effort, and making sure that everybody that has those different touch points are aware of what that account is trying to achieve, what we're trying to achieve in that plan.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So it's basically account-centric everything, focusing on what's best for the accountant. Yeah, I always forget. I mean, once you have the sale, that's not the end, that's the beginning. That's just your foot in the door.
Exactly. Yep, you've got to really plan around that full customer life cycle.
Very good. So how do you go about identifying and prioritizing which accounts to go after, and also which personas to go after, and the different sorts of messaging, I guess, for each sort of persona?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So the identifying accounts can sometimes be the most difficult thing when you first are starting account-based marketing, because sales will give you a list and say, here are my accounts, here's who I want to have account-based marketing for because they're a huge account and I'm trying to break in there. To where what we have done is we've actually used technology to help us understand these accounts a little bit more and their intent based on what we are trying to achieve and on the account's objectives and what they're trying to achieve. So we'll really get an understanding, do a little bit of research on these accounts to understand, okay, what are their objectives that they're trying to achieve and how do our solutions help them achieve their objectives? And then we'll use technology to actually do some intent data for us. So putting it up against the technology to understand, are they even out there talking about this? And does this align to their objectives with what we have to offer on our solution? So we can go back to sales, and that's that strategic partnership where that insight that we bring to be able to say, you know what, I know you want to target this account for XYZ, but honestly, it's not in their objectives and goals as an account, as a customer, and they're not even researching it. They're not hiring those positions. We just don't see that they are high intent, so it's not worth our time and resources and budget to target them, where we can actually go, these accounts have a high priority, high intent to buy our solutions that are aligned because they are researching, they're not researching our products, but they're researching those key things, keywords, trying to find more information. And when we have that insight and data, we can become very targeted towards going after quality instead of quantity, and we can really understand that there is a need for them very quickly to where we can start targeting that way. So it is a mixture of, and to the point that we were talking about earlier, the full customer life cycle. What's their current customer, what's their health score? Are they happy with us right now with what they have implemented? We want to cross-sell these products to them. Are they researching it right now? Do they have the high intent? And what are the goals that we're trying to achieve? Once you lay that out, like, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get net new customers? Are you trying to improve your renewal rate? Are you trying to upsell, cross-sell? Once you really identify the goals of what you're trying to do, that will help get an account list to where you want it to be. Once you get it to where you want it to be, then you're actually able to go and push it up against that intent data and have that insight and really get the list narrowed down. Again, still need that field knowledge from sales and working with the sales team and having that collaboration, but it's all about research, insight, and collaboration with the sales to identify those accounts.
Beautiful. So it sounds like you're using some intelligence and signals, both internal and some third-party data, maybe on Bombora or TechTarget or something like that?
Correct. So at CA, we used Demand-Based. They have a full platform that we were able to execute very targeted advertising to our accounts. Once we figured out their intent, they gave us the intent information and signals, and then we were able to launch campaigns specific to those accounts for those programs we had based on that intent. Here at Infor, we used Bombora for a little bit, and I am familiar with Madison Logic as well, but we mostly use Demand-Based, and Bombora is what I'm familiar with.
Beautiful. Okay. So what other kind of tools and technology have you had a chance to either explore or use?
Yeah, sure. So we use Engagio. Engagio has really helped us with launching very personalized communications that also get a very good view of account engagement based on those programs, what they're doing. Because one of the things to be able to measure account-based marketing is engagement. What we had to do is kind of draw a line in the sand, right? How are these accounts currently engaging with us by persona, by industry, by our solution areas? Are they even currently engaging with us across our programs and across our website? We were able to get that information from Engagio. I also used it previously at Demandbase, where they're able to draw that line, and then once we launch the programs, the very specific account-based marketing programs, we go back to that data and we started to see an increase in that engagement to where we can go to leadership and sales and go, see, this is working. We're getting higher engagement in the accounts that we care about, in the solution-focused areas that we are targeting them with, and in these certain personas. So Engagio has helped with that, and Demandbase has a beautiful platform that's extremely user-friendly, where you're able to see that engagement information and also intent information all in one platform and launch programs at the same time. So Demandbase, Engagio, Bombora, Marketo has a few things that we have utilized to help us with our ABM as well. It's mostly just connecting to the different technologies, making sure that we have that. So those are a few of the technologies that I'm familiar with.
Beautiful. Those are all good. I'll make sure we do a proper shout out to those folks. I'll appreciate it. So on the GDPR side and privacy, have you done much research on that? Is that created any kind of challenge or limitations for you?
So great question. Very, very involved in GDPR, and Infor does a phenomenal job of any program that we roll out. We work with our team internally to make sure that, first of all, any technologies that we're onboarding, vendors that we're onboarding, programs that we're executing, that is always like top of the line priority to make sure that we are enabling that and understand that. And I haven't run into this issue at all because GDPR is really at that contact level, right? And what we're doing is we're making it at the account level, but we're making it very relevant information and targeted information to where we're getting that contact information because they want to give it to us because they're trying to find more information because we were so targeted and relevant in our approach. So because of that, because it's a different approach, more at the account level, what they care about, that relevant information and putting in front of them, we haven't ran into that issue too much. First of all of our vendors and technologies that that I've used is GDPR compliant. We make sure that all of our programs, that's first and foremost, that they are GDPR compliant. And again, because it's at the account level, we haven't really ran into that issue at all. But it is definitely front and center priority for us to make sure everything that we're executing, all vendors onboarding, all technologies we are using is GDPR compliant.
Good, because California is around the corner, so it's going to be even a bigger issue, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we, at least both companies that I've worked for, CA and now Infor, ever since that happened in Europe, that is how we operate because we are a global company, because our customers are global. We're always making sure that everything we run is global compliancy with GDPR.
Smart. You're ahead of the curve on that. That's great. So my final question, unless we've got some more things to talk about, is if you can put your crystal ball hat on for a second. You've seen some changes along the way, new technology, new data, new data sources, new intelligence, new privacy laws, and so forth. What do you see is going to be changing as far as ABM or account-based management in a year and in 5 years from now? What do you see?
Yeah, so great question. You know, the MarTech stack has just exploded over the last 5 to 10 years. I've seen a diagram and it's an eyesore. There's so many technologies coming out to support, and I definitely think ABM in the next year, this is not going there. more positions are getting hired at companies for this focus. How do we build this out? What does this mean to our company? So I definitely see an increase in jobs for ABM at companies in the next year, as well as technology support. In the next 6 to 5 years, I also see not just more jobs and to support this, but this is going to become how marketing goes to market. As we like to say, you know, we are a B2B enterprise company, marketers to B2B, but we need to act more like B2C, and we need to be more personable. We need to be more relevant to where they're at in their journey. And at the end of the day, in 5 years, I definitely see B2B marketing moving more towards that, and that is the norm instead of something that people are trying to figure out, where more people will be enabled, certified, and experts at ABM as those roles start to increase, as well as the technology starts to increase to support that. I definitely see us becoming more of the norm for account-based marketing across these B2B companies.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Wonderful. This is very good information. So anything else that, any other words of wisdom you can share? Anything I missed?
No, this is great. I think words of wisdom is this is something that talk about cross collaboration. I know a lot of big B2B marketers have an issue of being siloed and only thinking of this as marketing and sales. This is able for you to break those silos down across the different marketing organization with the digital marketing team, with corporate marketing, with the events team, with the BDRs and the customer success team, to where you're really running a very strategized program. And so my thing is make sure that you are doing that cross collaboration, communication, and enablement as much as possible. And you will be, the more people that you have in your corner and understanding it, at the end of the day, the better.
Beautiful. Great advice. I appreciate it. Erica, it's a pleasure. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
All right, you too. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Take care.